Welcome to your NCFE Level 2 Certificate in Principles of Team Leading, Session 4 of 4. In this section, we'll be covering Introduction to Coaching, Introduction to Mentoring, Understand Personal Development. My name is Phil Church and I shall be your trainer and guide for this session. This NCFE Level 2 online Certificate in Principles of Team Leading course has been brought to you by Poplar Harker and Solucious Equinox Training Solutions for online learning. The units being covered in this session are Introduction to Coaching, Introduction to Mentoring, and Understand Personal Development. Completing your assignments. It is important to understand the action verbs in the assignment questions. And the action verbs that are used within these booklets are define. You must give the precise meaning of a word. Describe. In order to describe something, you must give a detailed account of it. Explain. You need to ensure that your answer is clear, really revealing relevant facts. And identify. Point out and explain. Your answer should establish who or what something is. Please don't just give us a list. Identify your areas and explain in detail. We have also supplied another action verb list in case there are any more that you need to use. We will tutor you throughout the whole program and help you to complete 2 assignments. Once you submit your assignments online, they will be assessed. All your completed assignments will then be submitted for internal and external quality assurance. Once this process is complete, you'll be awarded your qualification. And you can use our remote assistance service at learners@soluciousequinox.com. And a reminder, your email subjects must be marked as NCFE Leadership to ensure that we see your email. Well, what does your journey for learning look like? Well, in session 1, we covered principles of team leading. And in session 2, we looked at understand business, understand how to communicate work-related information. And from that, you should have gone on to completed your online assessment 1. And we had in the second assignment, session 3, or session 1 of 2, understand how to deliver customer service and resolve problems, understand how to develop working relationships with colleagues. And in session 4 of 4, or for the second assignment, it's known as session 2 of 2, in this session, Introduction to Coaching, Introduction to Mentoring, and Understand Personal Development. And following this session, like the others, will be an online teaching support. And there'll be additional tutor support sessions following this program as well for those who require it. And from the end of this session, you should be able to go on to complete your online assessment 2. And as stipulated before, there are full tutor support services throughout this entire program. And from then on, you could go on to claim your qualification once all these assignments are completed. In this section, we will look at understand coaching in the workplace. And to do that, we will describe what coaching is. Identify how coaching can be used in the context of the workplace. And identify the benefits of coaching for the organisation, manager, team, and individual. Coaching is often referred to in organisations, but what is it? Coaching involves providing an individual with the support to help them improve an aspect of their personal or professional life. It helps individuals learn how to improve specific performance issues, and maximise their abilities. Instead of telling people what to do, coaching helps people to learn how to make change themselves. A fundamental premise of coaching is that the individual already has the answers to their problems but needs help and support to find them. A coaching relationship will usually last for a set amount of time. Question 26 is asking you to describe what coaching is. So remember that coaching involves providing an individual with support to help them improve an aspect of their personal or professional life. It helps individuals learn how to improve specific performance issues and maximise their abilities. Instead of telling people what to do, coaching helps people to learn and how to make change themselves. And a coaching relationship will usually last for a set amount of time, and further reading can be found on pages 58 to 59 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Coaching within the workplace can be used in various contexts. Thinking back to the previous units that you've already covered, coaching can help individuals or teams focus on performance by identifying how to make improvements based on key performance indicators which are assigned to every role or team. To clarify needs, values and goals for individuals. Give people the knowledge, tools and opportunities they need to achieve their goals. Help people understand how to deal with continuous change to keep the organisation as effective and successful as possible. Help people to develop skills and knowledge. To enhance creativity and take away blocks to creativity and progress. Question 27 is asking you to identify how coaching can be used in the context of the workplace. Some further reading can be found on pages 58 to 59 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Benefits of coaching to the following. Benefits to the organisation. Well, benefits of coaching to the organisation reduces staff turnover. If people are feeling that they are being supported, they are less likely to leave. It improves productivity. You'll increase morale. You'll increase knowledge and confidence in your staff, thereby increasing staff motivation. They'll actually feel the need and the drive to achieve their objectives because they feel supported. For the manager, it helps to build high-performing teams because people on your team are striving towards those objectives and they have the confidence, the knowledge and the support in order to do it. And coaching can be carried out on the job within job time, so there's no long-term abstractions. And it's flexible. It can be adapted to suit the needs of the business and the individuals on the team. For the team then, the benefits of coaching improves performance, that confidence, that ability, that knowledge and that support strives to increase the team's performance, and it helps build relationships because if you have groups of people working together, being coached, they're likely to get on. And thereby it reduces the dependency on other team members because you're increasing the support and knowledge of the individual. So, benefits of coaching to the individual then, it helps to develop confidence and it improves their performance because the knowledge and skills and the confidence to do the work, their individual performance levels increase because it develops their skills. Question 28 is asking you to identify 3 benefits of coaching for each of the following: for the organisation, for the manager, the team and the individual. So you need to identify 3 benefits for each one. So 3 benefits for the organisation, 3 for the manager, 3 for the team, and 3 benefits for the individual. And further reading can be found on page 60 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Learning outcome 2. In this section, we'll be looking at understand how to coach individuals in the team. And to do that, we will describe a coaching model that could be used to support effective coaching in the workplace. Identify barriers to coaching in the workplace and describe ways to overcome them. And explain the use of learning styles in coaching. Identify the key elements of a coaching plan. Identify the importance of setting goals and targets. Explain the importance of constructive feedback in the coaching relationship. Explain the importance of maintaining records of coaching. Coaching models that could be utilised to support coaching in the workplace. One of these is called the GROW model. The GROW model, Goal, Reality, Options, Wrap-Up, is one of the most commonly coaching used tools. And the power of the GROW coaching model is that it leads to clearly defined end results through 4 phases. And the coachee is personally active in identifying problems and generating ideas for solutions. So that means then that anything that comes out of the coaching session has a lot of chance to be achieved. So how to use the GROW model? Well, the beauty about working with a GROW coaching model is that you don't need to be an expert in your coachee's specific situation to be able to coach them. The GROW coaching model offers a framework with general questions to elicit goals. So let's look at step 1 here. Goal. The first step in the GROW coaching model is to define the goal of the coaching. Depending on the type of coaching, this can include a long-term goal or end achievement or short-term goals for each particular session. And don't forget, these goals need to be SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So example questions to identify the goal is: what's important to you when it comes to this achievement? What will reaching the goal give you? What do you want to achieve in this objective? And how will you know you've reached your goal? And how will you know the problem has been solved? In step 2, reality, is becoming aware of the actual situation that the coachee is in. The coach's role here is to stimulate self-evaluation with the coachee and identify the obstacles that have been holding them back. It's important to keep them focused during this phase, so keep on summarising and repeating what you understand from the coachee. Often this phase of the GROW coaching model reveals underlying fears and convictions that can be worked on during or in between coaching sessions. So questions you may want to ask them as what's happening to you now? What, when, with whom, and how often? And what is the result of that? What's been going wrong so far? How did you manage to fail? Teach me how to do it. What went well? Is this always a problem, or are there situations in which it isn't? In step 3, options, step 3 of the GROW coaching model is to generate ideas that can contribute to the solution of the problem. So try to start a creative brainstorming process without censure or conditionality. Generate solutions and then structure it to evaluate every option. If needed, you can also offer some suggestions, such as what else could you do? What would you do if this particular obstacle didn't stop you? Imagine you'd already achieved your goal. How did you do it? What if this obstacle wasn't there anymore? What else would you need to do to reach your goal? What are the pros and cons of this option? And will, or way. The fourth and last step of the GROW coaching model is the choice of the option. This is converted into a concrete plan of action. Then the coachee's motivation to follow this plan is maximised. So what exactly will you do to reach your goal and when? Which of these options will you take? What concrete step can you take now? What steps come after? Are all obstacles taken into account? And how will you overcome your obstacles and so forth? How motivated are you on a scale of 1 to 10 to go for this option? What do you need to have a 10? And where can you get it? How can your surroundings support you? And will this plan get you to your goal? Will it solve the underlying problem too? Another one is the Oscar model. The outcome. Firstly, the coach and the employee should discuss the issue at hand, the primary topic of the meeting, and work together to identify the desired outcome of the session and the long-term goals of the individual. In the case of this would be likely to develop the ability to take charge and be heard in team-based scenarios. For example, in a less specific scenario, a few questions that could be asked, such as, what is it you would like to achieve from this session? Once you've reached your goal, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Situation. The second step would be to ascertain the current skill, ability, knowledge level of the team member and encourage discussion as to why they are at that level. The aim of questioning and discussion here is to raise the mentee's understanding and awareness of their situation. Also discussed during this section of the process are the feelings of the individual and how they feel their current situation is impacting their lives and those of their peers. How do you currently feel about your situation? Where are you now in terms of your goals? What's been happening in your work and life recently? And how do you think others feel about your current situation? Choices and consequences. Following this, the coach will help the team member to identify all the potential avenues for attaining the outcome. So, for example, perhaps undertaking a training course of some sort. For all the brainstorm choices that were discussed, the consequences and ramifications of each will be considered, allowing the individual to discard less practical or excessively difficult avenues and work towards a single viable route to their long-term goals. What current options for action are available to you? What are the consequences of any potential choices? What would be the impacts on other people? And which of the options has the best consequences for you and for others? A is for actions. And the next step is to identify where improvements can be made and how to make them. Focus of actions is the immediate and attainable targets that the mentee can work towards. SMART. Remember, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. They can serve as a checklist for any of the actions designed during this period of the session. So all actions should be motivational enough that the individual will strive and work towards them, but not so far as from their current situation that they will feel that the task is impossible and therefore lose motivation. All actions should have a distinct though realistic deadline so that the individual is motivated to work and has points at which they can measure progress. An example of action could be signing up for a training course or identifying a course that would most suit the team member. In addition to this, any support that may be required during the process should be identified. What immediate actions will you take? When are you going to take those actions? Who is going to provide the support for you throughout the process? How motivated are you to take these actions? And finally, review. In the review stage, the coach and coachee will arrange to hold a regular meeting to ensure that the team member is on track and to offer any assistance should it be required. These meetings and review checkpoints can be based upon the deadlines for tasks set in the actions section of the process. If it is found that the individual is no longer on track for sections of their action plan, perhaps the longer term and short term goals should be reassessed during the OSCAR process once more. How do you plan to review your progress? When is it suitable for us to review progress? Have your actions been moving you toward your goal? Are you still motivated to take those said actions? So in the CLEAR model, contracting for immediate action, define the focus and issues. Contracting opens the discussion, set the scope, establishing the needs, desires and outcome, and agreeing ground rules between each other. Listening to their feelings, stories, their context. Use active listening and catalytic inventions. The coach helps the coachee develop their understandings of the situation and generate personal insight. Exploring, helping the coachee to understand the personal impact of the situation that is having on themselves, and exploring challenging the coachee to think through possibilities for future action in resolving the situation. For action, experimenting and practicing planned actions, supporting the coachee in choosing a way ahead and deciding the next step. And review the process and plan the next steps, closing the intervention, reinforcing ground covered, decisions made and value added. The coachee also encourages feedback from the client on what was helpful about the coaching process, what was difficult, and what they would like to be different in future coaching sessions. And if need be, it goes back to those contracting where you agree new terms in order to drive forward again for the next step. Organisations may have their own coaching models, so try researching some on the internet. Can you think of situations where the models you have looked up would be effective? So your assignment question is asking you for question 29 to describe a coaching model that could be used to support effective coaching in the workplace. So we've just covered the GROW model, the OSCAR model, and the CLEAR model. And don't forget to look at some of your organisational models that you may use. And for describe, don't forget we're looking for detail. So detail each stage as I have done with you. And further reading can be found on pages 62 to 64 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Barriers to coaching in the workplace and ways to overcome them. The environment, the place they are working in, may not be suitable, could be too noisy, too dirty, too dusty, too crowded. They may feel that they have a complete lack of time. They're probably set to very tight deadlines, and being taken away for a chat just may not be open to them. There may be a total lack of understanding on behalf of the coach. The client themselves may have a lack of understanding on the purpose of what being coached and what the targets are. There could be a feeling of a lack of skills from either the client or from the coachee. Work pressures, those targets to achieve, the lack of time that they may have to do it and the environment they're in, the objectives that are being set by their line managers, by their two supervisors, and so forth, they may be feeling the pressure to compete, and even the coach themselves may feel they have a barrier to do this because of these reasons. And there may even be personality clashes. Should this be the case, and this person needs to be assigned a new coach, how would you overcome these? So question 30 is asking you to identify 3 barriers to coaching in the workplace and describe ways to overcome them. So think about environment, the lack of time, a lack of understanding. From the coach, a lack of understanding of purpose from the client, lack of skills, work pressures, personality clashes. So don't forget to give us some detail around each one of those as well. Further reading can be found on pages 65 to 66 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. How can an individual's learning style be used in coaching? Everyone has their own way of learning, and there are various theories which cover these. Knowing what learning style someone has will help when it comes to coaching that person. For example, a practical learner may need a practical context to coaching. Do you know what your own learning style is? Well, consider doing an online questionnaire to find out, and if you follow the link below or using the sessions within the file library, you can find this link in here and carry out the online questionnaire, and it will tell you what your preferred learning style is. It's Honey and Mumford's learning style, which reflects is an activist, reflector, theorist, and pragmatist. Or there's known as visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So you like to see things from a PowerPoint, you like to watch things like videos. Auditory, you like to listen to what's being said to you. Or kinesthetic, you like to get your hands on. If you've established what your learning style is, how would this affect how you are coached? Don't forget to look up what Honey and Mumford's learning style is as well, around the activist, reflector, theorist and pragmatist, to give you some ideas as to what this actual learning style is. Research has also shown that there are disadvantages to focusing only on learning styles in coaching. Your learning style may change over time, so it's important coaches approach coaching with a view to covering different styles. Those being coached should be stretched beyond their comfort zone in order to absorb as much of the potential learning and opportunities as possible. Question 31 is asking you to explain the use of learning styles in coaching. So don't forget, everyone has their own learning style, which means they can learn and process information differently. So for coaching to be successful, it can be helpful for the coach to take into account how their client learns, as it can help them to communicate successfully. So remember, coaches could use Honey and Mumford. Research what activist, reflector, theorist and pragmatist is. Honey and Mumford. Or visual, auditory, kinesthetic is also sometimes known as VAK or VARK. Further reading can be found on pages 67 to 68 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Key elements of a coaching plan. Ensure you have your areas of development that have been identified. You've set yourself SMART targets for the individual: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. What the client needs to do to achieve their goals or outcomes. The support needed to achieve the targets, and to ensure you have frequent reviews. Setting goals and targets. Goals and targets are the result of in-depth questioning and thought, and they have been created specifically to get an individual, team, company to a certain outcome. They provide a clear purpose and a means of measuring success. Setting and reviewing targets allows individuals to make corrections based on new information. And setting goals provides a long-term plan that can be worked towards, and setting targets along the way can motivate people in the short term. Because of the fact that they see a long-term target, it could be quite daunting for them and they may not feel they'll be able to accomplish it. But setting short-term goals, it's like stepping stones to their final goal. They're more likely to be motivated and driven to achieve that goal. Your assignment questions for question 32 is asking you to identify the key elements of a coaching plan. So for areas of development that have been identified, SMART targets, what the client needs to do to achieve their goal or outcome, the support needed to achieve these targets, and frequent reviews. And question 33 is asking you to identify the importance of setting goals and targets. Goals and targets are the result of in-depth questioning and thought. They provide clear purpose and means of measuring success, and setting goals provides a long-term plan that can be worked towards, and setting targets along the way can motivate people in the short term. And further reading can be found on pages 68 to 70 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. Importance of constructive feedback. Constructive feedback, when it is based on observations, is useful as it focuses on specific goals or targets and provides information that the individual can use. Constructive feedback also starts a discussion between the coach and client that helps them to understand the situation and make changes to their goals, targets, and coaching plan. And it's important to maintain records because it helps the coach and client to remember the process that they've gone through. It helps track progress and plans the next steps. And records include coaching plans for individual sessions, review, documents, and any evaluations. And don't forget, maintaining records is important as a coach, because if there's any dispute from the coachee about what was said and done and how these goals would be achieved, and the person is failing these goals and starts to blame you, you have records to assist you should this be taken any further to a next step, or if the person wishes to make a complaint against you. So don't forget that it's important to maintain these records of conversations, and it's also extremely important to let the coachee know that records are kept, and it's for everybody's for their purpose and benefit. So, question 34 is asking you to explain the importance of constructive feedback in coaching relationship. And remember that it's useful because it's based on observations and focuses on the specific goals or targets, and it provides information that the individual can use. Constructive feedback starts a discussion between the coach and client that helps them to understand the situation and makes their goals, targets to a coaching plan. Explain the importance of maintaining records of coaching is question 35, and remember that it helps the coach and client to remember the process they've gone through and helps to track progress and plan the next steps, and also is useful as you as a coach for any records to be kept in case there is a complaint made against you later down the line if a person is constantly failing to achieve. And further reading can be found on pages 70 to 72 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. In this section, we will look at understand the purpose and benefits of mentoring. So we will explain what mentoring is, and describe the role of a mentor, and identify different types of mentoring, and provide examples of where mentoring can be used, and to describe the benefits of mentoring for the organisation, the mentor, and the mentee. What is mentoring? Well, mentoring is a process normally conducted by an experienced person, the mentor, who shares their knowledge, skills, and experience to help someone, the mentee, who is less experienced to progress in their career. The process normally involves developing a long-term relationship between both parties. The mentor does not give advice on the mentee's day-to-day job role. For our focus is on growth and development and is often utilised when someone seeks promotion, for example. So what is the difference between coaching and mentoring? This is perhaps best answered by when to use one over the other. When to use a coach, when you want to develop raw talent with a specific new skill, enhance the experienced professional with a new or refreshed skill, to help individuals who are not meeting expectations or goals, or to assist leaders in coping with large-scale change through a merger or acquisition, like managing new blended work teams and adapting to the merging of company cultures. Prepare a professional for advancement in the organisation. Improve behaviour in a short period of time, like coaching an executive to address the media on specific topics. Work one-on-one with leaders who prefer working with a coach rather than attending public training programs. When to use a mentor. When to motivate talented professionals to focus on their career, life development, or to inspire individuals to see what is possible in their career or life. To enhance the professional's leadership development. To transfer knowledge from senior to junior professionals. To broaden intercultural or cross-cultural ties within the organisation. Or to use the mentoring process as an entree to successful planning. Your assignment questions are asking you for question 36 to explain what mentoring is. So remember, mentoring is a process in which an experienced individual, the mentor, shares their skills and knowledge and experience to a less experienced person, the mentee, to progress professionally. Mentoring usually involves developing a long-term relationship between the mentor and mentee, but the mentor doesn't provide advice on activities that are part of the mentee's everyday role. Instead, they focus on the mentee's overall growth and development at a high level. And question 37 is asking you to describe the role of a mentor. So they provide support and guidance. They're a role model. They provide information, they share knowledge, and they're a critical friend. And further reading can be found on pages 74 to 75 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. Different types of mentoring. Well, this could take the form of one-to-one, group mentoring, remote mentoring with the use of Zoom, Microsoft Teams, GoToMeeting, telephone. Your mentor and mentee could be separated across the globe. And reverse mentoring, which is an interesting one. And the idea of reverse mentoring is credited to the former boss of General Electric, a fellow called Jack Welch, in the late 1990s. He noticed that with the increasing popularity of the internet, it was his most junior staff who were the more technical savvy. So he asked his senior management team to meet the newest recruits to the business to share their experience of the latest technology that they were using. It was a great success, as a senior team received great insights into the latest tech, so they could champion the new recruits they met through the business and open up a line to top management for them. So reverse mentoring is just the opposite of mentoring. The wise, experienced senior member of the company taking on a junior entry-level recruit, and then instead of imparting their wisdom, they listen and learn from their junior colleague. But teaching grandma to suck eggs is surely pointless and insulting. But as Jack Welch discovered, it can work really well and in unexpected ways. And these are some of the advantages experienced by organisations who have given it a try. And as another old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but with reverse mentoring, you sure can. I remember the days years ago when I taught my dad how to use the video recorder. Now my children are teaching me how to use my particulars on my computer programs and tablets. That's reverse mentoring, because in the normal world, you're mentoring your children. Examples of when mentoring can be used are in professional environments. teacher training, and for new employees, or certainly for employees who have been promoted. Assignment questions are asking you for question 38 to identify different types of mentoring. So remember, one-to-one, group mentoring, remote mentoring, and reverse mentoring. And question 39 is asking you to provide examples of where mentoring can be used. So remember, professional environments, teacher training, new employees, and for employees who have been promoted. And further reading can be found on pages 75 to 76 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. The benefits of mentoring for the organisation. Staff retention. You're more likely to keep your staff because they feel that they will be supported and there will be an opportunity to progress. Improved productivity because the confidence, the feeling of motivation will increase. For the mentor, there will be an increased confidence, an increased motivation for themselves, and it'll improve their communication skills because their knowledge will be expressed across other areas and they themselves will feel an increase in confidence. And the mentee, that'll improve their confidence as well. The mentor is actually improving their knowledge whilst all the time improving the confidence of the mentee. The mentee will feel that they're being provided support, and it helps to identify areas of their development. And if they feel supported, these areas to identify for development, they are more likely to stay within your business, because if they don't feel supported, they are less likely to leave. Therefore, it'll improve their productivity because they're providing support, being provided support, they're having improved confidence. Those areas of development they may have felt they're lacking and may have missed on their objectives of their appraisals will improve their productivity, thus increasing their motivation. So it has benefits to everybody. So your assignment question for question 40 is asking you to describe the benefits of mentoring for the organisation, the mentor, and the mentee. Further reading can be found on pages 76 to 77 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. In this section, we will look at understand how mentoring works. And to do that, we will describe what is meant by a mentoring agreement. Compare informal to formal agreements. Identify the importance of making an agreement. Describe what an agreement should cover. Explain why a mentor should set goals for the mentee. Identify the importance of mutual trust and respect between the mentee and mentor. Provide examples of when an agreement should come to an end. What is a mentoring agreement? Well, a mentoring agreement is created by the mentor and mentee as a framework for the mentoring relationship. In the agreement, the mentor and mentee clarify their goals and expectations ahead of time and agree their roles and responsibilities and their commitment to the process. The mentoring agreement is kept and updated throughout the process so both the mentor and mentee can keep track of the progress and their progression and success. What should a mentoring agreement cover? Well, it's a statement created jointly which shows what both the mentor and mentee want to get from the relationship and that they are committed to the process. It will show how long the relationship will last and how often meetings will happen, how long they will last, and where the mentor and mentee will meet. How much contact is allowed between meetings, for example, once a week or twice a month. The mentor's learning objectives, the goals, for example, what the mentor expects to get from the relationship. The mentee's learning objectives and goals, what the mentee expects to get from the relationship. What the role the mentor will play in the process. What role the mentee will play in the process. And a review schedule and how often that will take place, and both their signatures. Question 41 is asking you to describe what is meant by a mentoring agreement. So remember, it's an agreement that's created by the mentor and mentee as a framework for the mentoring relationship. And in the agreement, the mentor and mentee clarify the goals and expectations ahead of time and agree their roles and responsibilities and their commitment to the process. Question 42 is asking you to describe what an agreement should contain. So it's a statement that's created jointly which shows what both mentor and mentee want to get from the relationship and that they are committed to the process. How long it will last, how often meetings will happen, how long they will last and where they will meet, how much contact is allowed, their learning objectives from both the mentor and the mentee's relationship and what they expect to get from the relationship and the roles that both will play. And don't forget, it will contain a review schedule. And further reading can be found on pages 78 to 79 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. Comparisons between formal and informal agreements. Well, for formal, advantages are created for a set time, so the agreement that the mentor and mentee both know how much time they have to achieve their goals. It lays out clear objectives, targets, and formal, so they have a clear idea what they want to achieve. Has measurable outcomes, so progress and succession can be seen, so remember SMART and what that stands for. They're regularly reviewed, which allows issues to be found and appropriate changes to be made. But the disadvantages are that they don't allow for creativity or changes in direction. And mentors are assigned to mentees as a result of process, not because they share mutual likes and respect. Whereas an informal agreement, the advantages are that it allows the mentor and mentee to create an organic relationship based on shared interests or mutual respect. So the mentor and mentee could already be friends, and as a result of a conversation, one decides to help the other. That's an informal agreement. It can last for years and results in strong friendships. But the disadvantages are it has no set objectives, targets or goals, so may not follow a logical or even useful path. Has no set time frame, so they may not motivate to achieve the goals within a reasonable time frame, and this accounts for both the mentor and the mentee. And it has no measurable outcome, making it impossible to know if the process has not been successful or not. And it's very difficult to use this within an appraisal situation when the person's being reviewed on their objectives. Well, prove to me that this is how you achieved it. And these aren't reviewed on a regular basis, so issues can't be identified and changes made. And there is no physical agreement, so as stated earlier, it's very difficult to prove in an appraisal situation. Assignment question is asking you for question 43 to compare informal and formal agreements. So remember the advantages and disadvantages for both the formal and the informal. And remember to compare between the two, just as we've done on the previous slide. And further reading can be found on pages 80 to 82 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. So why is it important to make an agreement? Well, mentoring agreements are important because they set out each person's roles and responsibilities and make the purpose of the relationship for both parties very clear. Boundaries are set, which helps keep the relationship on track. There is a defined path to follow achievement goals, and efficiently as possible, and the tone of the mentoring process is set. They are a way for both people to show that they are committed to the process. Well, why is it important for mentors to set mentees' goals? Well, this provides mentees with something clear to aim for and focus on, and therefore these goals are measurable and progress towards them can be monitored. And progressing towards goals can help to keep the mentee motivated and committed to the process. So question 44 is asking you to identify the importance of making an agreement. So, they set out each person's roles and responsibilities and makes the purpose of the relationship for both parties very clear. Boundaries are set, the tone of the mentoring process is set, which keeps the relationship on track. There's a defined path to follow to achieve goals, and they are a way for both people to show they are committed to the process. Question 45 is asking you to explain why a mentor should set goals for the mentee. Don't forget, this provides mentees with something clear to aim for and focus on. Goals are measurable and progress can be monitored. Progressing towards goals can help them keep mentee motivated and committed to the process. And further reading can be found on pages 11, 80 to 82 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Well, why is it important for there to be mutual trust and respect between the mentor and mentee? And mutual trust and respect are important because the mentor and mentee will share private details about their personal and professional lives and may need to provide support during difficult or challenging times. Information needs to be maintained in the strictest confidence. Trust and respect make the mentoring process more effective and successful. If there wasn't mutual respect and trust, it would make developing a meaningful mentoring relationship impossible, and the process would be unsuccessful. Because who would open up about their fears and their career goals and why they're not wishing to or willing to or able to achieve a higher potential because of potential issues, and they're worried that this might be spread to everybody else? When agreements should come to an end. An agreement should come to an end when the time frame of the agreement has come to an end. The relationship has fulfilled its purpose. Priorities have changed for the mentor or mentee. The relationship isn't leading to the expected outcomes. The mentor or mentee have changed roles or left the organisation. The mentor and mentee don't have mutual respect and trust and don't get on. Your assignment questions are asking you for question 46 to identify the importance of mutual trust and respect of the mentor and mentee. So remember, the mentor and mentee will share private details about their personal and professional lives and may need to provide support during difficult or challenging times, and information needs to be maintained in the strictest of confidence. Trust and respect make the mentoring process more effective and successful, because if it wasn't there, it would make developing a meaningful mentoring relationship impossible. And question 47 is asking you to provide examples of when an agreement should come to an end. So remember, the time frame of the agreement has already come to an end. The relationship has fulfilled its purpose. Priorities have changed for the mentor or mentee. The relationship isn't leading to the expected outcomes. The mentor or mentee have changed roles or left the organisation. The mentor and mentee don't have mutual respect and trust and maybe just don't get on. In this section, we will look at understand the skills and tools required by a mentor. And to do this, we will describe why good communication is essential to the role of a mentor. Explain why a mentor must have good listening skills. Identify types of question that can be used in the mentoring process. Describe how a mentor can provide feedback to a mentee. Explain the importance of facilitating a mentee's access to the information, people, and resources they require for their development. Identify the importance of reflection during the mentoring process. And identify how to help individuals take responsibility for their own development following mentoring. Why does a mentor need to have good communication skills? Well, good communication helps to build a rapport with a mentee and ensures that there are no misunderstandings and that guidance and tasks are understood. This helps the mentee to feel safe and secure in relation to the relationship between both parties and the expectations of the mentorship process. Keeping the mentee engaged is an ongoing process for the mentor, and good communication helps in this process by making any requirements or tasks clear and concise. Why does a mentor need to have good listening skills? Well, to help the mentee gain clarity and set out appropriate goals. Helps the mentor to really understand what the mentee is telling them and helps them to analyse the information and provide a good constructive response. Your assignment questions are asking you for question 48 to describe why communication is essential to the role of a mentor. Don't forget, this helps to build a rapport with the mentee, helps the mentee to feel safe, and helps engage the mentee. And question 49 is asking you to explain why a mentor must have good listening skills to help the mentee gain clarity and sets out appropriate goals, helps the mentor to really understand what the mentee is telling them, and helps them to analyse the information and provides a good constructive response. And further reading can be found on pages 84 to 85 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. How do you ask questions? Do you ask a series of closed questions that only elicit a yes or no response? Why do you ask so many closed questions? Do you get frustrated by the answers you get or annoyed? Do you do most of the talking? How could you change the way you ask questions? Or have you tried a different approach to asking questions? What type of questions are there? Well, how do you ask questions is an open question. It allows the person being asked the question to elicit an open response. Do you ask a series of closed questions is a closed question. It elicits a yes or no response. Why do you ask so many questions is an open question, because therefore it allows the person being asked to explain. Do you get frustrated by the answers you get or annoyed? Well, that's a forced choice question because I'm only going to really get one set of answers. I'm not really going to give you the opportunity to come up with something else. I'm saying you get frustrated, really. Do you do most of the talking? Well, that's a closed question. Elicits a yes or no response. Do you do most of the talking? Yes. Do you do most of the talking? No. How could you change the way you ask questions? Well, that's an open question. Allows the person to give more detail in their response rather than a yes or no. You can't answer a yes or no to that. How could you change the way you ask questions? No, it doesn't make sense. Have you tried a different approach to asking questions? Yes. Have you tried a different approach to asking questions? No. There you can see it's a closed question. What type of questions are there? Well, that's an open question. Allows you to go off and give me a detailed answer. Does that make sense? Well, this is a confirmatory question. because I now know if you say to me no, then I know for a fact I need to explain further. But if I say, does that make sense? And you say yes, then I assume that you understand. Questions such as TEDS, tell me, explain to me, describe to me, show me, and 5WH, who, when, what, why, where, and how. So you should be using open questions and avoiding questions such as closed ones. Now can you see where these can provide you with lots of detail? In addition to open and closed questions, there are also hypothetical situations where you can put somebody into a situation and see where they are going and where they could potentially vision themselves. Challenge questions, where you get them to start having to think around certain situations and challenge them. And these questions are really useful in mentoring to get the mentee to visualize a point being explored or to challenge an aspect of a discussion. Okay, tell me why you're coming up with that suggestion. Tell me why you want to achieve that goal. It's challenge questions, getting them to explore it further. TEDS and 5WH should be used within your questioning techniques. If you've ever worked in retail and somebody walks in through the door and you ask them, can I help you? It's a closed question. How may I help you? That is an open question and should elicit a better response. So question 50 is asking you to identify 3 types of question that can be used in the mentoring process. Now, you can use closed questions because they can be used to make a confirmatory point. Theoretically speaking, does that make sense? Is a closed question yes or no? But it's confirmatory, isn't it? It means that I can elicit a response from you so I know you understand. So we're not saying that closed questions should not be used. They should be careful and checked when they're being used. So you've got closed, open, hypothetical, and challenge questions. And further reading can be found on pages 27 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Feedback can be given in different ways. Formally, so it is carried out in a written context, maybe in a formal meeting, sat with a person in a formal discussion, or in a formal mentoring or coaching session. Informally, maybe with a quick chat, taking somebody to one side and just giving them a quick run through as to what's happened. Consecutively, one after the other. A model that can be used is IDEA, which we'll cover in a moment, and CEDAR, which we'll also cover in a short while. It's not always easy to give feedback. However, it is important for it to be honest and constructive. So honest, the dictionary definition is that you're telling the truth or able to be trusted and not likely to steal, cheat, or lie. And constructive, the definition for that is useful and likely or intended to improve something. Use language to the person receiving feedback that is appropriate. Don't use hostile language and put yourself in their shoes. How would you like to receive the feedback, and therefore you should give it in that way. And use the sandwich method. Start off on a positive, constructive, and then give the constructive but negative feedback in the middle, and then follow it up on a positive method and a positive, something to go away with so it actually makes them feel better. So they're not dwelling on the real developmental areas. And I say negative, I actually do mean developmental, but positive, negative, positive, if that's the way you need to think of it. So the IDEA model. Feedback can be given in different ways, and the idea, the I, is the intention. Identify the specific behaviour that requires the feedback. and then discover and describe the impact of the behavior. So discover it, the impact that behavior has had. Evaluate it. Encourage continuation or change, maybe. If a person's done something very well, you want to encourage them to continue with it. If it's not so good, you want to encourage them to change it. And the action. Agree on an action plan. So idea is intention, discover, evaluate, and action. The CEDAR model, the C, clarify the expected standard of performance. So a useful phrase is, this is what I expect to see. E, explain. Explain the observed performance or behavior. Useful phrases, this is what I actually see. What someone has intended as the person receiving the feedback is what they've actually done may not be what they intended everyone to see. So you as person giving the feedback should say, well, actually, this is what I actually saw. D, discuss the situation to understand differences between expected and observed behavior. And a useful phrase is, can you tell me more about? A, agree plans for improvement. So a useful phrase is, this is what we agreed. And R, review progress and amend plans if required. And a useful phrase, well, let's review and give a date and time. Your assignment question is asking you for question 51 to describe how a mentor can provide a feedback to a mentee. So remember, informally, as a quick chat, taking them to one side and just giving them some friendly feedback. Formally, can be done in the form of appraisals, meetings, feedback models such as IDEA and CEDAR, and consecutively, one by one, following in sequence. And further reading can be found on pages 87 to 89 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. The importance of facilitating a mentee's access to information, people and resources required for their development. The development of a mentee often involves other departments and staff members. By facilitating a mentee's access to information, people and resources, the mentor is giving the mentee the best opportunity to succeed. Reflection is an important part of the learning and development process because it allows them to take stock of the whole process, how it is going, what's going well, and what could be better. It allows them to consider whether they are on the right track or if something needs to be changed. It can help them to come up with new questions about or insights into their situation, which can make the process more meaningful and successful. It provides an opportunity to achieve clarity and learn more about themselves as well as each other. So your assignment question for question 52 is asking you to explain the importance of facilitating a mentee's access to the information, people and resources they require for their development. So by facilitating a mentee's access to information, it's giving them the best opportunity to succeed. And question 53, identify the importance of reflection during the mentoring process. And this is important because it allows them to take stock of the whole process, how it is going, what's going well, and allows them to consider whether they are on the right track or if something needs to be changed, and provides clarity. And further reading can be found on pages 90 to 91 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. Personal responsibility is an important aspect of your development. Being part of a structured mentoring process ensures the mentee follows set developmental stages. However, once the mentorship comes to an end, the mentee will need to take personal responsibility for their own development. The role of the mentor in preparing the mentee for this responsibility is a key part of the process of mentoring. This can be done by helping the mentee throughout the mentoring process to develop the skills they need for their own onward development and ensuring they have access to resources such as professional contacts and knowledge of other training opportunities such as qualifications. And many of these support services and qualifications and awarding bodies are found below. So your assignment question is asking you to identify how to help individuals take responsibility for their own development. So for question 54, make sure that once the mentoring process has come to an end, the mentor should try and make sure that the mentee will take responsibility for their own development in the future. And further reading can be found on pages 90 to 91 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. In this section, we will look at understand the role of a team leader. To do that, we will describe the role of a team leader, explain the knowledge and skills required to carry out the role of a team leader, explain the difference between authority and accountability. What is the role of a team leader? Well, a team leader builds teams. They provide feedback on performance. They're expected to motivate their staff and act as an interface between the team and outside, so from other management or from external organizations or other companies, other departments. And they explain goals, plan and roles, and for inspiring people and appeal to people's emotions and sharing a vision, that vision of the team and achieving the goals and objectives set for the organization. Monitor feelings and morale and report back if necessary, and create a culture within the team and a positive, organized, constructive culture. Create a positive team feeling and ensure effective induction into the team. To provide development opportunities and unleashing potential of the individuals on the team. And a look over the horizon so they can see what is coming, the direction of the team, and be able to deal with it and any effective change management along the way. And to take risks. And to be a good role model and provide focus and have good organizational skills. Is this what you would expect from a team leader? Do you exhibit these skills? Question 55 is asking you to describe the role of a team leader. So just remember, some of them were providing team members with clear goals and objectives, motivating staff, providing direction, achieving goals, providing guidance and support, and there were many more. Further reading can be found on page 93 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. But don't forget the question for question 55 is describe. So don't just list. We'd like to see some detail in your answer, please. Knowledge and skills required to carry out the role of a team leader. Leading people, managing people, being a good listener, building relationships, showing emotional intelligence, communicating with customers and stakeholders. So knowing what the person likes, not just what they as an individual, as a team leader likes, but knowing what the individual on external stakeholders and internal stakeholders like and ensure it is addressed in that particular manner. So if a particular stakeholder likes being run every Monday with an update, then that's what needs to be done, or they come to a compromise. having excellent communication skills, and managing operational or day-to-day activities, projects, finance, using information and data, and the application of organisational and legal frameworks and ability to use human resources and other organisational systems. An understanding of the organisation's strategy, culture, or approaches to equality and diversity. Understanding others' strengths and weaknesses. Question 56 is asking you to explain the knowledge and skills required to carry out the role of a team leader. So some of them are a good listener, excellent communication skills, the ability to understand others' strengths and challenge, and good organisational skills. And there were many more. Can you think of what they were? Do you exhibit these? Further reading can be found on page 93 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. What is the difference between authority and accountability? Authority refers to the power that comes with a certain job to make decisions, to create and enforce rules, and to ensure team members are complying with company policy and procedures. A team leader usually has authority over the rest of the team, and authority is a long-term responsibility. And accountability means taking responsibility for completing a certain task that is assigned by the person with authority. And accountability lasts for as long as a task or a project lasts. So question 57 is asking you to explain the difference between authority and accountability. So remember, authority refers to the power that comes with a certain job to make decisions. And a team leader usually has authority over the rest of the team, and it's a long-term responsibility. Whereas accountability means taking responsibility for completing a certain task that is assigned by the person with authority. Accountability lasts for as long as a task or a project lasts. And further reading can be found on page 94 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. In this section, we will understand how to produce a personal development plan. And to do that, we will explain the use of a skills audit in identifying areas of development. Identify gaps in own knowledge and skills for the required role. Identify own preferred learning styles. And identify opportunities, any resources that could support own development and meet the needs of own preferred learning styles. Describe the key elements of personal development. Plan own personal development based on identified gaps in own knowledge and skills required for the role. Explain the importance of seeking and responding positively to feedback from others, and explain the importance of reviewing progress against objectives within a personal development plan. The use of skills audits in identifying areas for development. Skills audits are an important tool for employers to establish where there are possible skills gaps in their organisation which could affect performance and the delivery of goals and objectives. A skills audit is the first step in creating a personal development plan. It helps you to identify any gaps in knowledge or skills required for the desired role. You can then move on to explore what actions you can take to reach your goal. To your right is an example of a skills audit. So you rate your own skill, for example, in this case, for making a website. So you put your name in the corner, your personal rating. So you have no skills, basic skills, you're competent or proficient, and the evidence that you have found to back this up. So for making a website, using the camera and shoot, this person says they have basic skills and they say, I'd like to take a picture, although It's not titled not to use, so I don't use it well. Premiere and After Effects, no skills at all. I learned it at school, but it might still be based. Photoshop and Illustrator, they're saying they're competent. I deal with illustrations, but Photoshop a little. I don't know how to deal with Photoshop well. So they know where they can build a skills gap analysis. So they can see that they have basic writing and speaking with English and documentation work and no skills in Premieres and After Effects. They know where they need to aim their training. Your assignment question is asking you for question 58 to explain the use of a skills audit and identifying areas for development. So a skills audit is the first step in creating a personal development plan. It helps you to identify any gaps in knowledge or skills required for the desired role or goal. You can then move on to explore what actions you can take to reach your goal. And further reading can be found on pages 95 to 98 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. Identify gaps in your own knowledge and skills for a role you're interested in. So using the PDF unit handbook, please go to pages 6 to 9 to establish where your own knowledge and skills gaps are. Identifying your own preferred learning styles. There are various online questionnaires that you can use to see what your own learning style is. And this is the link for the VARK. So complete the questionnaire. So your assignment question is asking you to identify gaps in your own knowledge and skills for a role you're interested in. So to answer this question, you should read the information on pages 6 to 9 and then think about your own knowledge and skills gaps. And question 60, to identify your preferred learning style. So to answer this question, you should look at Honey and Mumford, VAK, or the Index of Learning Styles questionnaire. You can follow that link, or you can type it into Google for preferred learning styles questionnaires or learning style questionnaire. And further reading can be found on pages 95 to 99 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. Identifying opportunities and resources that could support development and meet the needs of preferred learning styles. Your assignment requires you to research opportunities and resources that could support your own development and meet the needs of your own preferred learning styles. So, having established what your learning style is, identify opportunities and resources within your own organisation. So key elements of a personal development plan. You need to establish your goal and the skills and qualities you need to develop. Development opportunities research, an action plan that details what you will do to reach your goal or goals, and how you're going to record those outcomes, and how you will review and evaluate the process or your success. So other versions of these documents can be found online. Plenty of templates available to use, but essentially you have your objectives. What do I want to be able to do better? The success criteria column, how will I recognize success? How will I review and measure my improvement? Actions, what methods will I use to achieve my learning objectives? And implementation, how will I practice and apply what I learn? Question 61 is asking you to identify opportunities and resources that could support your own development and meet the needs of your own preferred learning styles. So to answer this question, you should research what opportunities and resources are available to you at your own organisation. Question 61 is asking you to describe the key elements of a personal development plan. So you need to carry out a personal development plan that will include the following key elements: your goal, skills, qualities you will need to develop, development opportunities research, an action plan that detail what you will do to reach your goals, recorded outcomes, and review and evaluation of the process and success. And further reading can be found on pages 98 to 99 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. Plan personal development based on identified gaps in knowledge and skills required for a role you're interested in. Having identified where your knowledge and skills gaps are, plan your own personal development based on your findings. And guidance to help you can be found in the unit handbook on pages 100 to 103. The importance of seeking out and responding positively to feedback from others. A 360-degree feedback will help you to understand what you have succeeded. It helps you to understand areas that have not been as successful. It allows you to identify areas that need more work and helps you to make changes or updates to your personal development plan. So what is 360 feedback? With yourself in the middle, you receive feedback from your peers, your managers, and any others, and most importantly, your staff. You ask them to give feedback about you. You could ask them and set the questions, or you could ask them to be open and give you the feedback about your leading style, your skills, and any areas that they see that they feel that you in particular need to develop on. Now, some people can be critical. You need to accept this as long as it is not personal. 360-degree feedback is extremely useful because you're getting a true reflection from your staff, and if they're being open and honest with you, this allows you a real true developmental system of finding out exactly where you need to achieve, and it's being given to you by those around you, your peers, your managers, and any others, your staff, rather than just coming from yourself, which could be quite biased. Now, question 63 is asking you to plan your own personal development based on identified gaps in your knowledge and skills required for a role you are interested in. So you should plan your own personal development based on your research findings. And question 64 is asking you to explain the importance of seeking and responding positively to feedback from others. So it helps you to understand where you have succeeded, helps you understand areas that you've not been successful in, allows you to identify areas that need more work, and it helps you to change and make changes or updates to your personal development plan. And further reading can be found on pages 100 to 104 of your unit handbook to help you answer these questions. The importance of reviewing progress against objectives within a personal development plan. By reviewing your progress in your development plan, you should be able to be able to identify what went well, be able to identify what did not go well or the way you thought it would, be able to assess what you would do in the future, what you have learned, and what changes you would make that would help you to achieve your goals. So your assignment question, question 65, your last assignment question, is asking you to explain the importance of reviewing progress against objectives within a personal development plan. So by performing a review, you will be able to identify what went well, be able to identify what did not go well or the way you thought it would, to be able to assess what you would do in the future, what you have learned, and what changes you would make that would help you to achieve your goal. And further reading can be found on pages 105 of your unit handbook to help you answer this question. This concludes the final session relating to this qualification. You will have been sent by email a time, date and GoToMeeting link for you to log on for the teaching session which accompanies this presentation. And to get the most from your learning journey, please ensure you log on to this online session with your trainer immediately following this presentation. We hope that you found this presentation useful, and we encourage you to use your unit handbooks, which are accessible in PDF format from your ePortfolio to support your studies. For any questions, don't forget we have the online supporting sessions following this delivery, and don't forget you can reach us on our remote assistance service where we can be contacted at learners@soluciusequinox.com. And please remember your emails must be marked NCFE Leadership, and our 2 telephone numbers are there for you to contact us should you wish. We'd be grateful for any feedback that you may provide so we can improve our training programs. Please take a moment to complete a feedback document which we will email to you, and these can be returned to our normal email address. And I'd like to thank you for your attention and thank you for listening, and good luck with your assignment too.